It's got to really sting for the Cougs losing Pat Chun, although, you know, no one really seems to care that, and it kind of applies to Scott Barnes, too, at Oregon State. It just doesn't seem to stick to these ADs that they oversaw the relegation of their schools. You know, like, I guess people just assume that there's nothing they could have done about it.
Nothing they could have done, yeah.
But I don't know that that's entirely true.
Well, I mean, the idea is that, I mean, what doomed them, one, was poor leadership with commissioners. So if you want to blame them for backing commissioners, sure. But
Well, yeah, there you go. That's one thing right there.
But USC blocking the addition of the Big 12 schools, USC and UCLA taking the midnight train out of town when no one saw that coming. And then, you know, the fact that there wasn't a TV deal to be had that was worth a damn. I guess I just don't know what you wanted Oregon other than to raise your voice early on and say Larry Scott and then Kliavkoff don't know what the hell they're doing. Outside of that, I don't know what you wanted Washington State and Oregon State to do.
Well, I think
I'm very confident.
Yeah, it's just the idea that you're just reactionary and not proactive,
and the thought that you were doing enough. I mean, though, I think that if a deal gets made sooner, this doesn't necessarily fall apart the way that it does, even if you don't like the deal that you have.
But that's the problem, is that Washington State and Oregon State are the two least powerful schools in the conference.
Yeah, but they have a vote.
They have 2 votes. No one was voting on that horse crap deal. Like the negative one was when they came to the table, ESPN, with the Big 12 deal, the 31 whatever million. They were doomed the moment that the school said no.
I think people just have the question, though, like, could they have looked for an out sooner than some of the other teams, like the Arizonas or something like that? And I'm not saying that they could have, and I'm not saying that they were even wanted, but those other teams who aren't great survived.
There wasn't a single conference that wanted them. Like, what do you...
Well, just, I mean...
To me, when I look at Washington State and what Chun did there to hire Mike Leach, to hire Kyle Smith, and when you look at their TV ratings, I'd say the same thing about Oregon State. They have built nice athletic departments there. Oregon State, with the renovation of Reeser and building very nice facilities, I think both of those schools have done a nice job considering what they've had to work with. I don't fault them. You can say that they were naive, but I would blame the entire conference. The moment you turn down ESPN's original Big 12 deal, the 30 whatever million, that was your death sentence, because it was only a matter of time before a USC or an Oregon or a Washington took the high road.
Well, it's not. Okay, so let's talk about that. There's another one. Apparently, Washington State voted against that.
Yeah.
Why are they voting against it? That's on them. Like, and again, their one vote can't overturn it. But at the same time, do you not have the foresight to see that this is a great deal for you?
That was the one that apparently everyone, if you want to put the blame across the board, every one of those schools was led to believe that they were going to get a $50+ million payday. And that was the beginning of the end. Well, that's the Shark Tank, the overvaluation of your product. And if you want to be critical for that, sure. But I think that Chun especially has done a really nice job and has a very good track record. And I think Washington, talking to people, Washington's very happy that they got their guy. And
well, it sounds like he's a good fundraiser.
He's a good fundraiser.
That of course translates. I mean,
and that's massive in the NIL era.
Yes.
I mean, it's so huge. The whole reason that Oregon hired Pat Kilkenny to be their AD temporarily was because he could raise money for Matthew Knight Arena. I mean, people make moves for that reason alone, and he can get that done.
100%. I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I just am a little. It's just a little perplexing to me that Oregon State and Washington State are basically doomed.
Yeah.
For the next couple of years, and not a head will roll. As a matter of fact, all the people that oversaw it, everybody loves them.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Strange.
It's like nobody saw any of it coming. I mean, at one time, somebody wanted Maryland and Rutgers.
I think USC saw it.
So the timing,
so did Oregon and Washington, which is why they got the hell out of town.
Well, and that goes back to Buck's point of, and again, it's hard to be critical of them for this but it's another in a long line of why weren't you thinking differently?
Yeah, it's hard to know if anything
Your-
could have been done, but should
Yes.
there have been an attempt or an effort?
And
Your
again,
Oregon State and Washington State, you know you're at the bottom of the totem pole. We even you and I saw this, and we've been saying this for years through all this realignment, that the schools that are going to get screwed are the schools that are not proactive, or the conferences that are going to get screwed are the conferences that are not proactive. If you're Oregon State and Maryland was proactive, Rutgers was proactive. There's a lot of other crappier schools than Oregon State and Washington State that were proactive, and they found a home. Oregon State and Washington State ended up getting left behind because they just sat there.
I do think that
They were the last two out.
And I understand that, but I think the difference between the Rutgers and the Maryland is where they're at. Unfortunately, I think you had a lot working against you for Oregon State and Washington State. And I think that they kind of got left hung out to dry. And while I totally get where you're coming from, I don't think many people, and this is naive on a lot of people's parts, just believe that the collapse of the Pac-12 could be a real thing. And
well, that's their job. These guys get paid a lot of money.
106 years of a conference going away. No one really believed it. And, well,
these guys.
Now
and that's fine for all of us. But if you're one of those 12 who's sitting atop of the mountain,
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
The whole league is gone.
Yes.
And all these people are lauded. It's weird. And now, I get it. ADs are different than presidents. And apparently this Washington State president, he's another one. Yeah. This Kirk Scholes guy, he seems like a boob to me. I don't know. I'm not on the inside of it. But maybe he's more of a culprit than Chun. Maybe the ADs are a little too lower level here when it comes to all this realignment stuff.
I think the university presidents, if you're passing blame, the university presidents are certainly above the ADs.
Well, they are above the ADs, but can't the? I mean, if the AD is smart, he's influencing his president. He's getting his president to do what he thinks is best for his athletic program. I don't know.
He's making sure the president understands how dire this situation is and that something has to be done.
And it sounds like it's just weird. Like you wonder if. And these are all things like you just will never know unless somebody spills the beans down the road. But you wonder if Oregon State or Washington State ever had any Big 12 overtures way before. Remember that when the Big 12 was desperate?
Yeah.
And the Big 12 we thought was dead.
Yeah.
And
although to be
Oklahoma
fair,
and Texas left.
If you're Oregon State and Washington State, the Big 12 was on its last breath.
Right.
So leaving your stable conference at the time wouldn't have made sense.
The one that really is the screw job in all this is USC, because at that point the Pac-12 tried to kill the Big 12 and come in and take the good Big 12 schools. Right? They would have gotten Kansas, they would have gotten Oklahoma State, they would have gotten Texas Tech. And they were going to become a super conference, and it would have killed the Big 12 and ensured the survival of the Pac-12. And freaking USC said no, said we're not doing that, rallied the troops against it, and then 2 years later led the exodus. That's the one. That's the one that if you really want to say F you to someone, that move right there.
I also find it somewhat hard to believe that no one saw that coming from USC and UCLA. Yeah. No one. They blindsided the whole league. How far up your ass is your head?
Yeah.
Especially after what happened with Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, who is paying attention?
I don't know. Apparently not enough people. And now here we are. So.
And yet all these people still have their jobs. Has anybody lost their job over any of the things that happened in the Pac-2?
Kliavkoff.
Or Pac-12?
he got canned.
Well, I guess he did.
Yeah, he got canned.
Yeah.
Other than that,
there's your fall guy.
Yeah. I mean, Pat Chun just lost his job. Good thing he found another one.
Now, that's the other thing. If you're a Coug, man, you got to feel demoralized because it's not that Pat Chun left. It's that he left for Washington.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
So, you got Dickert and you don't know how that's going to go. It didn't end well last year. You lose your quarterback, and then your basketball coach, who was a really good hire that had you back in the tournament, he leaves you for Stanford of all places, who was another school that was left behind, and now your AD bails on you, and it's just bad. And we'll see. Oregon State fans seems to have, at least temporarily, steadied their ship, at least when it comes to football, and there's hope and optimism. But we'll see what happens next year. I think Oregon State fan thinks that this team is going to go into next year and win like 10 and 11 games, and you heard it here first. I think there's some trouble brewing down in Corvallis. look, and it's just little rumors and whispers, but like it's maybe not off to the
What are you
best
talking about?
the best start with their football staff and their football program. That it's very early on. There's just not necessarily a big ringing endorsement that people think that this program is just like going to bounce back.
So no one likes Trent Bray? Is that what you're saying?
You're hearing some stuff that maybe it's not all razzleberry, frogurt, and scones early on with the new staff, but it's early.
Oh, great.
It's early. So,
and I guess Scott Barnes will probably turn that into a raise too, huh? God.
We'll see.
God dang, what do you think?
The next 2 years are going to be.
I want to be an AD.
You really got to get through some stuff, and then hopefully, ACC or Big 12. You got to find a landing spot. You got 2 years, because if you don't find a landing spot after that, you're cooked.
If Oregon State's staff doesn't work out, Trent Bray doesn't work out, Scott Barnes needs to go.
Yes, I think that's a fair statement.
I think he already needs to go, but
just hold on to be a baseball school, right? Just hey, you are a baseball
Save your
school.
job with a College World Series win.
Hell yeah.
He hired Canham though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Good hire.
Just go with that, man. Be like,
and Ruick.
Hey, we got the Tinkle. Yeah, you're a girl basketball coach.
Although I don't think he hired Ruick, did he? I'm not
that was
sure
probably
when he
before his time. But look, just hold on to the baseball program. Like you're
what
killing
a mess.
it right now.
Damn mess, Jace. I kind of feel for the Cougs.
I do. I feel for both.
Losing their AD.
Yeah, it's
like that
it's
to
just
to their
rough.
rival.